What up, Prof Leaders? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are in Kitty, back in Kitty for the final swing through. This is Lamaha Street looking north. This is Shell Road, Kitty. Right, this is the street we're going to take a walk up Shell Road. That's Shell Road looking west towards Wilsington Road. And this is the intersection at which Middleton Street becomes Lamaha Street again. So that's the intersection with Middleton Street and Sandy Bab Street, Campbell Avenue. And it's beginning to rain, so we're gonna walk all the way through it. This is Shell Road, Kitty. And of course behind me, that's Campbellville. Well, the map says that all of that is Kitty, but Campbell Avenue, when the name changes, tells me that that's probably Campbellville. Anyway guys, look at what's happening here. This is Shell Road in Kitty, and what we want to do is to see how this neighborhood has changed and is changing from back in the 1960s or the 1950s when it was first established. So this was an entirely residential neighborhood back in the 1950s, 1960s, and as time went by, it became a very sought after neighborhood, one where anybody who was somebody living in Georgetown wanted to be and knew, right? It was kind of a prestigious neighborhood. It was like a city within a city. Kitty was like a city within a city, a little small town within Georgetown. And so they had their own municipality. It's like you have your own market, Kitty Market, you have your own police station and your own supermarkets and commercial center, shopping center, commercial street. But this is Shell Road. This is the street between Sandy Bab Street, which is also a major artery connecting Campbellville and Kitty, coming all the way through from Sarah Street. And we saw Sandy Bab Street yesterday. But this is what Shell Road Kitty looks like now in 2023. And we just came down Bar Street. If you want to see that, go to the previous video. I'll show you Bar Street. In Kitty, it's north of Shell Road. Wow, it's a large vacant lot over here that's empty. I'm pretty sure somebody's eyeing this for development. Somebody's going to put up a high rise there in a pretty short time. Somebody's already put up a multi-story residential condominium here on Shell Road. And as you can see already, there's a lot of commercial activity. Right, that's a lot with some kind of vehicle parts storage. Alright, this is Shell Road in Kitty in 2023. This is a new multi-story condominium. Next door, another larger renovated residential building. But this is what is happening in 2023. Some of the older buildings that were renovated in the 1980s, like this one, and this one in its original state. 1980s renovation. You can tell it's 1980s renovation from the concrete downstairs, concrete facade on the front of the building. Right, this is 1980s renovation in Shell Road. In the 1990s, they became fully concrete, but upstairs and downstairs, the whole building was renovated to be a concrete structure. And in the 2000s, you started getting a lot more of North American architecture being incorporated into the building facade. So this would be a 1980s renovation, and this would be a 2000s, early 2000s renovation, and unrenovated. So there's a lot of commercial and residential renovation on Shell Road in Kitty. Yeah, man. Right, a lot of commercial and residential renovation. This is a commercial residential property. You can see there's a shop, it's the Royal Isles on the downstairs, and there's residences upstairs. Here is the 1980s renovation, 1990s renovation. Morning. So a lot of commercial and residential property renovation here on Shell Road in Kitty. This is a, what is it, 2000s renovation? Right, it's kind of a more recent renovation. A number of residences on the same lot here on Shell Road. This is the intersection with Alexander Street, and again we're back at the Kitty Market, which is closed for some reason on Monday at noon. I have a feeling this market actually works on a Wednesday, so I have to come back here on Wednesday to take a look on the inside. That's Shell Road, looking back at Shell Road, Kitty, CK Pharmacy. That's the police station I referred to, right, which made City its own municipality, its own market, its own police station. So Shell Road, Kitty, important for that reason. Here's another empty lot that is being prepped for a new building, most likely, or some new commercial establishment. But this is what's happening here. Shell Road, Kitty in Georgetown. Now if you've lived on Shell Road back in the 1950s or the 1960s, you might recognize some of these lots. Well, I'm sure some of the buildings are different now because of the renovations, but share with us what you think has changed, what you know has changed, and how it has changed from when you knew it back 50 or 60 or 70 years ago when you lived here. This is Shell Road in 2023, and a lot of the changes are yet to come. This one is clearly a 2000s renovation. You can see from the architecture, right? 2000s renovation. Some of it earlier, right? This is like a 1990s renovation where you have a lot of the concrete, the entire building being concrete. 1980s renovation where the downstairs, the ground floor is concrete, and so on. So all of it, for a person who understands archaeology, right? You can interpret all of the changes over the years just on the architecture of these buildings. The red brick, for example, is quite popular in the 1980s, 1970s, and 1980s. We actually had our own brick factory. So the red brick construction was characteristic of a certain time in Guyana when we actually made red brick, clay bricks, at our own clay brick factory. And these are some of the buildings that were constructed back in the 1960s, 1970s. This is Shell Road, Kitty, guys. Tell me what you think about this neighborhood. If you've lived here before, how it has changed. The next intersection coming up takes you to the main north-south thoroughfare, which is Vlissingen Road. So Vlissingen Road coming up at the next intersection brings us to the western end of Shell Road, Kitty. And this is what it looks like in 2023. Right, a lot of the houses have maintained some of the same architecture from its original construction back in 1950s and the 1960s. Like this one, for example, you can see some of the old colonial architecture with the jalousies, the wooden windows, but right behind it, a building that has been renovated. So you got now a mixture of ancient and modern architecture, and a mixture of commercial and residential properties here in Shell Road. Like I said, this was entirely at one point an entirely residential neighborhood, but now it's a major commercial residential center because it's close to the city center, has a high population density, and that's good for business. So next street is Vlissingen Road. Alright, we're on Vlissingen Road. Well, the next street is Vlissingen Road. Here is a Cheeto's hot spot pool and bar here at the corner. And that's a large multi-story building that's being built at the corner of Sandy Bab Street. This is Shell Road, Kitty guys. We just walked up Shell Road. Tell me what you think about Shell Road, Kitty. If you've lived here, and you've seen the changes, and you want to draw my attention to what has changed, because I might not have been familiar with this neighborhood in the 1950s and the 1960s, and I'm basically going off of trends to tell you how it's changed, and it is changing in the 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s, and so on, based on architecture. But if you've lived here, you probably have more specific information. We're back at Bar Street, and we're actually walking north on Stanley Place. Right, that's Stanley Place. Next to the Hand in Hand building. Stanley Place. Here in Kitty, look down back in the direction where we came from Shell Road, Bar Street, onto Stanley Place. And this is St. Road, and across on Irving Street, and the other side of Irving Street is Kampangana. So that's it, guys. That's our walk up Shell Road. Want to see more content like this? Click like and subscribe. If you're familiar with the neighborhood and you want to give us some more highlights, information that you remember from when you lived here, we're always happy to hear about it. Share that in the comments below, and share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgetown, Guyana. Later! Stanley Place.